Hi, I'm Mark Doty. Here's what a Juno-6 sounds like when I do it.
Next, we're going to talk about the VCF of the Roland Juno-6. Let's listen to the frequency cutoff of a sawtooth wave. That's a nice sounding filter. Let's listen to the square wave. Let's listen to both of them together. Woo! Okay. It has a really interesting timbre. Very distinctive Roland sound. Okay, let's bring the resonance into it. And if you'll remember, resonance amplifies the frequencies at the frequency cutoff point, which doesn't do a lot when the frequency cutoff point is at the entire top. So let's bring it down. To me, that sounds like a very Roland filter. And since my first synthesizer was a Juno-6, you know, it's probably a different filter, and everyone's going to say, well, it was a different filter in that one. But still, to me, this sounds very, it very much has a Roland sound to it. And let me point out something else here. We have a high-pass filter. High-pass filter is awesome because the VCF is a low-pass filter, letting the bass frequencies through and cutting off the high frequencies, the high harmonics of the sound coming through. But the high-pass filter lets through the high frequencies and cuts off the low frequencies. So using this in tandem, you can kind of arrange it in a sort of bandpass filter. So you can get some kind of nasal sounds. Now you can't do like a really awesome bandpass where you have a resonant high pass filter and a resonant low pass filter to work together. But at least in this, you can carve some of the bass frequencies out of your sound if your sound needs to have bass frequencies carved out, or to get this sort of narrow nasal sound that I'm playing right now. And that's cool. I should point out that the resonance here on this low pass filter is self-oscillating. So it pushes those frequencies at the cutoff point to the point where they are audible and self-oscillating. So let's get into the cool sounding stuff. The good old envelope modulation of the filter. And that's when the shape of the envelope controls the filter cutoff point. The voltage from the envelope settings controls where the filter cutoff point is over time. Let's hear that. Right now I have the envelope set to gate, so the envelope is not controlling the amp. So we're just getting a gated sound, an on-off sound, so that we can hear the envelope shape the filter. We're not using any resonance right now to get what is really a very analog sound. People always want to dive immediately for the resonance in the filter, but if you don't put the resonance on, you can get some of those warmer, sort of 70s sounding filter sounds. So that's a great sounding filter. We also can add the resonance. And you know what Roland did? They did a really cool thing. They allowed you to apply an inverted envelope to the filter cutoff point. Now, sometimes this requires some work to find where it will make a noise. So you can get a different set of sounds having the filter cutoff point affected by a negative envelope. We also have the ability to have the filter cutoff point affected by the LFO. And that's a lot of fun. This is subject to the same thing as before. If you switch the trigger mode from auto to manual, you won't hear the LFO, even though it is set to LFO. You have to activate the LFO with this giant LFO trigger over here in the control section. So that affords you a lot of control possibilities. Depending on how you trigger using this button and what the other settings are. You can also have it fade in by having the delay time of the LFO set so that when you activate, you trigger the LFO with the LFO trigger button. And it's only set to control the VCF, which is what we're hearing. We're not hearing it controlling the DCO. You can get that delay. Which is a pretty cool effect. We also have the keyboard function. Keyboard function basically scales the filter cutoff point using voltage from the keys. So you'll get a darker sound lower in the keys and a higher sound higher in the keys because that follows what acoustic instruments traditionally do. And it was a frequent function on synthesizers to have the ability to sort of emulate that acoustic sound. It allows you to have basically a different timbre, a darker timbre in your bass and a brighter timbre in your treble. It also affects when you have other things, other voltage control sources affecting the filter cutoff point, they will affect differently with the keyboard on. And that is basically your voltage control filter on the Roland Juno-6. That was very Gary Newman-ish.